Are you going or am I going?
You do it.
Welcome back, guys, to a new podcast. Right, how should we start it?
Like that.
Okay, brilliant. All right, welcome back. Thanks for checking out another podcast. Sorry we've been away for a couple of weeks, but we have been busy working on Front. There is some exciting news coming soon with that. Just bear with us. Again, appreciate that this is myself and Luke's project. We are full-time employees at our jobs. We are doing this outside of work hours, but we're working hard. We're excited. We're positive, and we know it's going to work well. Thank you for all the support, continued support. Thanks to everyone who's registered to our mailing list. Thanks to everyone that uses #FrontPhotography. You're awesome. But today we are talking to Tiffany Roubert. You might recognise her from one of Sean Tucker's most recent videos. She is awesome. She's busy. She's a really good photographer, and it was really, really cool to have a chat with her for a bit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great. She was really interesting and really funny. And also, we kept it to under an hour, which was delightful.
I know some of you hate that because you've been sticking around for an hour and a half in our most recent podcast, but yeah, it's under an hour long, which is nice. You can listen to it in one hit. You can fall asleep to it. You won't fall asleep because it's awesome. She's really, really interesting. And yeah, it's cool. What did we talk about? We spoke about her travels, her
traveling, camera bags, camera gear, a bit, tiny bit. Can't remember now.
We spoke about kind of what she's got going on. She's got a lot of things going on. If you haven't already, go and check out her Instagram. She's working on, what do you call it, where like a community holiday, I guess, community photo holiday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so she, and obviously her like experience in the short amount of time that she's kind of been pushing herself at as like a photographer, in the grand scheme of things, I guess. So yeah, it's awesome. Listen to it, find out, and yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Hopefully we'll be catching up with her again in the not so distant future, and deep diving into
Mexico.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's very busy. But yeah, we have got some awesome podcasts lined up in the coming weeks as well, and we're working on some videos as well. So thank you for everyone who's also subscribed to our YouTube channel. That's consistently kind of going up, which is something we're pushing. So yeah, thank you so much for all the continued support. And yeah, reach out, say hello to us. We don't bite. Enjoy.
Go on.
Drum more, please. I haven't done that for a while.
Yeah. Great.
Here we go.
Should I press continue? Leave meeting.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us, Tiffany. We are super, super pumped to have you on as a guest.
Happy to be there, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So should we just get straight into it?
Yes, of course, let's do this.
We've got questions we want to ask you, but what we want to know first of all is how you got into photography.
So a bit by chance, never wanted to be a photographer. Like, it's kind of a job where you kind of grew up and you're like, I want to be a photographer. It's a good thing. And I always thought it would be something to not reachable in a way. And I kind of started taking photography, I would say like 10 years ago when I started traveling.
Yeah.
And and then it just started from there, and I remember one day I was in Australia and my dad came to visit me and he was like, oh, it's cool what you do. Why aren't you a photographer? And usually it's the opposite. It's you want to be a photographer and your family is kind of, no, come on, don't you want to be a lawyer or something?
Yeah.
And I remember he
get
told
a
me
real
this.
job.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, no, I'd rather keep this as a hobby. But then
Yeah.
he didn't know, but he kind of puts an idea in my mind. And I was like, what if?
Yeah.
And yeah, from then I started taking it a bit more seriously. I studied 4 years. I did a master of photojournalism in London.
Yeah.
And then, it was a bit on and off. I loved it. I hated it. I wanted to stop. I wanted to do it again. And a couple of years ago, I was like, no, okay, enough. That's what I love. That's what make me, make me happy. So that's what I'm gonna be doing as long as I can. And yeah.
You actually touched upon one of the questions that we got on our Instagram that someone wanted to ask you, and that was about the course that you did. Was it the University of Arts in London?
Yeah, of London. Yeah, I did a documentary and photojournalism master.
you actually said today, so I don't know when this podcast is going out, but you put on your Instagram that you originally fell in love with like documentary style photography.
Yeah, exactly. That's, yeah.
I'm guessing you still love that, but there's other things that you do as well, right?
I love it. Well, I guess I'm taking more portraits now. I love documentary photography. If I could just do this, I would, but I find it a bit hard, to find the right client or the right medium to, help you diffusing your art. I mean, your picture and everything. So that's why I told you I've been a bit in love and hated this whole photography thing, because first I was like, I want to be a documentary photographer. And it was also for me a way to kind of stay rational, to be like, okay, this is serious. It's not just art, because I never consider myself as an artist.
Yeah.
And when you study photojournalism, I consider myself more as a journalist, sometimes. There is still this kind of rational aspect.
Journalism, I see that in your
I was like, if anything, I can still be a journalist. And then actually, I went all in photography, forgetting a bit the journalist aspect. And that's what I would love to go back to. Yeah.
It's good that you say that, because like for me personally, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Luke, I'm sure it's the same for all photographers, we all have like a love-hate relationship with photography. I feel like I'm going through that kind of like hate stage at the minute.
Yeah.
It's not that, I especially doing front, right, I'm looking at photos all day, every day. But at the same time, I hate my work at the moment, or I'm not inspired enough to go out and shoot all the time.
Classic.
But then, but then you find something. So like for me personally, I'm quite into portraits at the moment, but I don't know, the weather's not the greatest in England, is it? So I always feel like
what are we doing here?
And then so that's why I'm in this kind of like hate stage. But at the same time, I could wake up tomorrow and I'll be motivated and I'll go out for a month and love every single day of it. But
exactly.
Same with everything, I guess, though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I got bored quite easily. That's why photography first was a bit, I had to travel, I had to move out, and I have to make a lot of change in my life to finally be okay. Now I am happy with it, and I find this happiness here in London. Actually, that's where I was like, I love it, and I love it more and more. That's the surprising thing,
Yeah.
Like, it is a beautiful, although very grey sometimes, it is a beautiful city. And it is, I think it's so inspiring to go out and shoot it. And especially like when the sun's out, summer is like amazing. Summer in London is amazing.
I'm in love with the summer in London. And even when it's grey, the sky acts as a diffuser. So it's perfect for portraits. So I'm like, actually, it's the best, I started taking picture in Australia. And for me, that was, okay, I need light. And I'm from Marseille, south of France, which is very sunny as well. I was like, that's the way. But then, no, I love it here. I love picture here. Yeah.
Is Marseille, I might be wrong here, but there is a couple that I watch on YouTube who do vlogs, and they've just travelled through France, which is beautiful, by the way. And they were saying Marseille is up there with one of the best places to visit, but it can be a bit on the pricey side in certain areas.
Underpriced?
Yeah.
You mean
it's expensive.
Well, when you live here in London, no,
exactly. That's what I thought. They're from Wales, so maybe.
Okay, that's why they're not from London. Yeah.
But Marseille's great.
It is. It's a nice city. Yeah, I love to go back to.
Yeah. So when you said when you were studying photography, did it kind of like kill the love of photography a little bit? Just
not really, because this is when I start getting an interest in photography. Like, I think. Like, I was in Australia in 2012, I started taking pictures there. And in 2013, I got enrolled in that master. So that's when I was like, I didn't know anything about photography. I knew like the basic, the technique, but they taught me the theory, the big names, the photographer, the history. And I think that's why it's passionating.
Yeah. We're also blessed with YouTube and social media platforms as well, right? So
exactly. So like I said already, like it didn't teach me how to take picture. It teach me, it kind of helped me to know better, to know more of, And then YouTube taught me all about, all this aperture shutter thing that first you're like, give me a headache, And then you practice, you watch a few YouTube videos, you fell in love with some photographers and you want to shoot like them. And that's how it started, really.
Yeah, that's really good. I feel like, everyone has their own kind of story about how they go into photography or how they've gone through the stages of falling out of love with it and find it. But it's the same as me. Like, I studied photography at college 15 years ago, and I didn't love it. Well, I loved it because I already liked photography. So for me, it was like, well, obviously I'm going to go and study it, but I didn't enjoy the classes as much as I kind of wanted to.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
leaving college and then doing my own thing just for the fact that I loved photography and film made me love it so much more. If you know what I mean? You go through stages.
Yeah, it's a bit the same. Like, I'm very grateful actually for the people I met during the master, you know, rather than what I've learned. Honestly, I'm like, oh, like I've been so lucky I was able to learn, you know, like to go to school, like school in London are a bit pricey. So I'm so grateful for that. But I'm like, I wouldn't encourage anyone to do this. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but like just make connection, be curious, read books, spend your life on YouTube the first years maybe, but then it's nice for, you know, to meet the right people, because I don't come from a creative group. Like my friends are not necessarily creative or artists or photographers. So it was a nice way to get kind of, you know, in total immersion for a year. So it was nice just for that. Yeah.
It's weird because I remember I remember watching the Sean Tucker video of yourself, which is awesome, by the way. And you know, to be on a Sean Tucker video as well, that's quite an honor as well, right? But I remember you saying in there, like, you started off doing like landscape work and documentary style photography, and I think like all photographers, you know, like me now, like I just like to photograph life, but at the same time, I will still go out to shoot, you know. And I don't always have a plan. Sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, I'm taking a roll of film out and I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah, that's the best.
Like. But at the same time, there's certain, like you know, your portraiture is phenomenal, right? And I love that. I like that we're connected to somewhat your life in a way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can relate to, like for me, I relate to a lot of it, and not necessarily because it's you and, you know, your wife or whatever it might be, but it's what I'm into, right? But then at the same time, you might get into landscape photography next year, and it's just how that path kind of goes.
Exactly.
Right? You might not. But...
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I don't want to get stuck into, you know, something. Like today I published this more documentary driven photography, you know, and that's what I love as well. And maybe a few days before I published something about my wife being a bit more intimate, and you would say, okay, but what, don't you want just to create 2 Instagram page for us to send out, because this is me, you know, boss, or what I love to do. It's what I want to share, and that's okay, you know. And I think also there is that touch maybe in the ultimately the edit, the colors, the light you choose, you know, this kind of thing. Maybe that's what give my whole work some kind of harmony. But if not, it can be anything: landscape, kind of nude, photography, documentary. I mean, it's your sensibility as a whole, as a person.
Do you find that like, especially living in London or living in the UK in general, right? Yeah. So obviously our seasons are quite varied. Like our winters are dark and cold, and summers, you know, maybe not this year, but summers tend to be, you know, we get nice light until late in the evening.
At least super. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. So like your photography, like I know that you love light, right? It's a bit harder to do in the winter, especially if you're kind of doing stuff in the day. But how do you kind of work around that? Because a lot of your photography is also inside. Because I feel like you'd be taking a photo, regardless if it was for work, paid, not paid. You'll have your camera close by in any situation. So do you still kind of keep motivated regardless of what you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. Like recently, I got into this kind of neon photography light, you know. And we're very gifted with that in London. Like if you just go to central London, you got all those lights everywhere. So I have this in my mind right now. I want to create a project, just playing with the light, you know, nightlife a bit. And I never really done that. Really, I never really pushed it. And that's something I always thought it was so beautiful. So because now the day are going to be shorter, it's going to be darker quicker. So I'm like, okay, I need to have something, you know, kind of a project that push me to keep shooting all the time and make it something that I like shooting. And so that's going to be my new thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's so easy to get into that kind of like, I can't go out because it's dark or it's cold.
No, and especially not in London. That means I will be shooting 2 months in a year, you know. So I need to find stuff. Like the last 2 winter I've been to Brazil because of the situation, because of my wife being from there. So it was easy. I just spent the whole winter there and I could just take pictures all the time. Nice. But I intend on spending my winter here this year. So I need something to be more and enjoy.
Yeah, that's great. And what? So I'm sure people are going to ask, and we actually had a couple of questions about it earlier. What cameras are you using?
I used, I don't know if you see them right there. I used, my
Polaroid.
favorite is, let me grab it. I will make you a little introduction. Okay, so the one that I'll use most of the time will be that one, the Leica M240,
Nice.
which is a digital camera. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to love it.
I've actually got another question for you, but I'll ask that after you spoke about your cameras.
All right. So I used to shoot with the Canon AE1, which is an analog camera, which I love so much that I got 3 of them. One for the color, one for the black and white, and one because you never know.
Yeah.
Just in case, why not? It's Canon AE1.
Actually, it was broken, and then I wanted it again. Anyway. But I love this one so much. Like now, I don't know. I still love to shoot analog, and I still do it. But I just find my best friend,
Yeah.
because it's the same kind of, you go very slow. Everything is manual. Just take your time. That's what I love with analog. And then when I discovered that camera, which is still old, for I think now there's the M10R and this is the M240, which is quite old.
Yeah,
so when it comes to digital, you need to upgrade. But I love because it got this analog touch as well, because it's old. And on the top of that, I got this lens that is a bit vintage as well. So it gives this analog touch. So once again, it gives that style that whether I'm shooting with this one or the A1, I love that sometimes people got confused, not really knowing what I'm shooting with. And once again, it's my vision. And this is just a tool, to express myself. So
I think that's the key. That's the key thing to get across. It's your vision. It's how you want to take how you want to portray your photos, right? So, and like we always get questions because where we run our Instagram account and stuff like that. A lot of people message us and be like, "Oh, it's through no plan. We don't mean to just post film photography or just post digital. We generally like a lot of the photography we see, and we don't care if it's
the look of it.
Doesn't matter if it's taken on analog. It doesn't matter
exactly
if it's format. It doesn't matter. What we like are the photos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the stories behind them, or the journey that you've taken to get that photo.
Exactly.
Do you know
what I mean? I'm sure you've heard of Joe Greer. I'm not sure if I said right. Joe Greer. And I love because first he used to shoot just digital, then he switched for film, and even his bio on his Instagram was like film photographer. And now he just shoots with his iPhone as well, and it's so amazing. And now he's just photographer. Because whatever you use is just, you're just a photographer, no matter, sometimes I use, Polaroid as well. I mean, you don't care. As much as you have fun and you just, I love this camera because it's small, it's compact. I can just sometimes have my picture the same day. But sometimes I just want to shoot just film because the fact of taking film gives me pleasure. I don't care about the result. I can, you like nowadays, you can just reproduce anything you want. It's all about the pleasure you take. So
that's it. Like going back to what I was saying earlier. Tomorrow you might wake up and be like, I'm just into shooting film. I want that. I want, I'm back in love with it. I don't want to see my results. I like the kind of process of it all. And then the next day you could wake up and be like, well, I'm going somewhere. I'm going to take the light. Right? I'm the same. I've actually just sold a Canon A1. And I've had it for 5-6 years.
Tell it to me, I will have 4. Come on.
Well, maybe I'll hit you up for another one. But I was emotional to get rid of it because it was kind of like my first analog camera when I got back into photography.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I have only replaced it with a Minolta X700.
Oh, nice.
Which is somewhat similar. But then I have the Fujifilm X100F, which. Kind of like you're so like
it's so small, so nice. Yeah,
but I love it, right? And I take that everywhere with me because I know that I've never got an excuse to not shoot that.
Exactly.
I don't know. You go through stages, don't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's so nice. I love those little cameras.
Yeah. And so, if you were shooting analog, do you have a go-to kind of film stock that you'd use, or go-to kind of settings that you'd use, or again, is it just a case of whatever you feel like?
I got the 2 Canon EY that I have. One of them is, the program mode, so you don't even set your shutter. Which is what I started with. So I love to shoot full aperture, like the smallest one. So I love this kind of blurry. So that if I use this one, I would just go the minimum, which I guess is 1.4 because I have a 50 millimeters. If not, it depends. When it comes to film stock, I started using Portra because, I wasn't taking any risks. Well, it's classic, it's nice. And then I got a bit more into some kind of moody style film, Lomo, Cinestil. What did I have as well? Black and white. I love the Ilford. I don't know if you say Ilford or Ilford.
Ilford. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a
like I don't have my go-to. I just use a bit of everything. Yeah. And recently I discovered that Ultramax, Ultramax, the 400, kind of is the same as Portra, but way cheaper. So that was my go-to. Yeah.
But everything's going up nowadays. But I think everyone's the same when they get into photography, or especially kind of analog film photography. Everyone wants to shoot portrait because they're a hipster and they want the best results. But then at the same time, then you kind of deep dive a bit more, and then you try loads of other things. Then you go back to portrait because it's actually really good, and then you go through these different stages again. Don't you?
Yeah, it's nice to play as well. Yeah.
A
mix of everything. I don't have my favorite one yet, so it's just
So what draws you to? What has drawn you the most to kind of like portrait photography then? Is it just because you've stumbled in it because you've been taking photos of your wife, or is it a case that there's something else there?
Yeah, I think it was my travel as well, because first I thought I would never take portraits because I was a bit shy. I hated directing people. I remember when I started, because I had to for jobs, because, landscape didn't pay. Who's going to give me money? I remember people telling me, oh, let me know what I have to do. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, it's perfect. The picture were terrible because it wasn't right. And I was so shy or scared to tell them, maybe do that or put I hated that. So, but then when I traveled, I think it was, went to Senegal, like some country in Africa. And I mean, as cliche as it might sound, you can just take great portrait there. And I would just approach people, ask them to look at me, and their eyes, I was like, yeah, something's going on there. And that's what I want to be photographing, and then I try to, so I would just take portrait while traveling, like portrait that I actually enjoy. And then I was like, well, I don't try to get this feeling as well with people around me, people that don't necessarily belong to a culture that is totally different from mine.
Yeah.
And so then I try to get closer, because I think for me that's a bit the key, to kind of connect with the person you're photographing, And by doing so, I was like, when I was editing my picture, I was like, okay, I love that.
Yeah.
And then I love this feeling so much that I start getting into it, and now that's what I love doing.
Yeah, I think I can see that in your work as well, because I mean this in the most complimentary way possible.
Yeah.
Your photography, you can clearly see that there's more than trying to take the perfect picture or a pretty picture. It's about capturing a moment,
That's
right?
good to hear. Yeah.
If something's a little bit blurry, so what? If something's a little bit out of focus, so what? Or if you've cropped someone's arm off, so what? But you can look at those photos, and like you said, because you're that little bit closer, it leaves the mind to the imagination to kind of go, well, what else is around it, right? Which I think is powerful.
Well, thank you. That's a great compliment, because that's exactly what it is. Like some people, they're like, can you take a picture that is not blurry? I'm like, actually I can, but I don't care. I'm not even sure I want to.
Yeah.
And that's what I love with this camera as well, because it's manual. I'm mostly shooting with a 35, which means I need to be very close for the person. And sometimes, I don't know, it's more about what I feel rather than the perfect result. If not, I will have a reflex camera with a 135. I don't know. It's not my thing. And now, at least now I'm aware of that. When I first started, I didn't know. I had a lot of lenses. I used to shoot with a 5D, the Mark II back then. I had all other lenses, and I was like, no. And I just sold everything. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm not into that kind of like having loads of different lenses and then you can never decide what to use. And every time you go out, if you go and do some street photography, you're like, you end up taking the whole backpack with you.
Yeah, and that's so nice. Now I just have my little backpack, put this, and voila, done.
Yeah, I do that. I have like a little man bag thing that I carry a camera around in, which is great, right?
So good, yeah.
But then sometimes, especially if me and Luke are going out to like make a video or something like that, I've got like a suitcase with me, but it's not full of lenses. It's full of different cameras. But then in my head, I'm like, right, maybe I'll shoot medium format. Then I'll be like, maybe I'll shoot digital. But really, I should just go out with a camera. And I've started doing it more recently. I've been taking out this little shit point and shoot camera And I love, do you know what I mean?
I want to do this as well. Yeah, I want one.
Yeah.
I need to ask you for advice because I want one. Yeah, just to put
There's better people than me to ask for advice. I can give
No,
you mine.
whatever the one you have.
But we've been talking a lot about point and shoots recently, just between ourselves. But there is a million different things out there, isn't there? But
Yes, that's the thing as well. But yeah, just one that you don't even think, poof.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
I think when you're kind of capturing, day-to-day life, right? You're not going out and planning a shoot or, looking for something to take a photo of. When you're taking a photo of something that just happens in front of you, whether it be family, friends, or just that's in front of you, that's where you can be a bit forgiving on yourself, and you don't have to put the pressure of taking this perfect photo.
Yeah, exactly.
Just capture the moment. Do you know what I mean? Capture that moment.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to look. I bought this little point and shoot the other day, but you can't turn the flash off. So So I was like, I tried to take a photo of someone in the street the other day, and the flash went off in their face, and I was like, and it was the middle of the day as well.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not ideal, and it's really loud.
Did that person notice? Did she say anything?
Yeah, it just got a funny look. So
okay.
but that happens all the time anyway. But yeah, if you look for one, you've got to look for something where you can turn the flash off.
Discreet, yeah.
I think it goes back to like location as well. Like, do you know what? Going back to Joe Greer, yeah, obviously he was in New York for however many years, right? And he takes incredible photos, but there's a lot of good photographers. There's a lot of good street photographers from New York, right? But I see his work, and he loves where he lives. I know he doesn't live there now, but he loved it, right? And we all complain about where we are. Like, you're in London, but you love London, right? But me and Luke always complain about where we live and like, there's no. But we challenge ourselves, we push ourselves to go out and take photos. And there are things to take, but I don't know. It's not London, is it?
No, yeah, I'm in love with the city, so nothing I can say. Everyone's like, but why? You're from the very sunny south of France. And I'm like, yeah, but there's something about the energy here, definitely.
This is a nice little segue into my next question. So you say you love London, but I swear you're out of the country every week, going somewhere in the world. So yeah, what have you
Maybe that's why I love it that much, because I can escape.
Yeah. short doses. So yeah, what have you got going on at the moment then? Because I know you're doing a lot of traveling, but I know you've got the travel.
Travel with me, the thing to Mexico. Yeah. We can talk about this. That's fine.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so I know you've got that coming up, and I'm guessing there's a whole lot of work that goes around arranging something like that. And you've got all your other projects you're working on. So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about?
So I came back from this kind of ethic last month. That was amazing. I had an group exhibition in Madrid, solo exhibition in Paris. So yeah, that was great. It was just a couple of days, but that was amazing.
Yeah.
And and I'm planning a trip to Mexico. I'm partnering. Do you say partnering? I'm having partners, with a travel agency, and they send me to Mexico to do some kind of photo trip. So I'm gonna gather some people in love with photography. Don't have to be professional at all, just passionate. That's how I started in a way. So it would be nice to get this kind of people on board. And we're just gonna go there for a couple of days, visit a few places, take a lot of pictures, and just like share this passion, Like I said, like I wasn't really surrounded by people, photographer, passionate about photography when I wanted to be a photographer. So I thought it would be great for, to be with a bunch of photographer, amateur, whatever, for like a little week and go to Mexico. So this is in February. So everyone is more than welcome to come.
Oh, well. I was going to say, are there still places left, or is it?
There's still a few places. I want to keep it small so I can exchange with everyone. We can all kind of be friends, for the week. It can be a bit intimidating if there are a lot of people. I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. But there are still places. Like it's still quite a big thing. Not everyone can just fly to Mexico in 3-4 months.
I'm sure after 20 minutes of everyone being together and thinking how amazing it is. I'm hoping, best friends by the end of the day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I hope so.
Well, to be fair, I think we average around 20 million listens on this podcast a day at the moment. So I'm
perfect. So come on board, guys.
Yeah. We'd love to. Luke's just had a baby. He's got a new baby, so he's got an excuse to get out of everything he wants to do.
Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah. You can hear him.
That's awesome then. So I'm guessing you still do like a lot of work as well. kind of like paid work, you know, paying the bills, so to speak.
Yeah. But the thing is, when I told you earlier that I went to Brazil 2 years in a row for quite a long time. So that's the thing in the photography industry. If you're not there, if you're not here to say, hey, I'm there, look at me, that's my new work, you kind of fade away into people's mind, and because they need to have people available. So I'm back since this summer, and I'm trying to be a bit more, because I've been working on a lot of personal projects, and now I need to be working on client projects. So I'm kind of starting everything again. You know what I mean? Like this kind of, okay, I'm back to London. That's me. I'm a professional photographer, and I need to pay my rent. So hi. Rather than just me traveling around, take a picture of my wife and the beautiful landscape and posting on Instagram. It is nice. But this doesn't pay the rent. So.
What do you do when you need to look for work? Because we always have people ask us, how do I become a professional photographer? And we're like,
them down and say that we're not professional photographers.
But it's like we when we talk to people and we say, have you got any questions? It's always something that comes up. So it's probably maybe a hard question to answer, but is there anything that you would say to people who are like, what do I do? How do I start?
Just reach out, make sure you have a little portfolio, like 10 pictures on a nice, neat PDF, and just send email to the right client. That's like, honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm more administration person than a photographer. I send so many emails, but weirdly enough, the best job that I had, it's people coming to me. So that's something. But before that, I worked so much. I sent so many emails and reached out to so many people. And then eventually one day, you have that one client. For me, it was Leica. That was amazing. That just came to me, and I was like, okay, that's so sweet. Thank you so much.
I can retire now. Leica have contacted
anytime,
me. And I give up. I've made it in life.
And no, because it was one time thing, but then it leads on something else. I'm gonna be giving a workshop next year for them.
Oh, great!
So the academy is that
for the Leica Academy, exactly. So for me, that's that's, if you would have told me when I first, sure.
I actually had a question about Leica. So it's a kind of a bit of a two-part, I guess. So we were talking to one of our friends who was actually on one of our podcast episodes a couple of months ago, called Paul Hughes. Now he's a photographer for Guinness World Records. So he does a lot of photography for Guinness World Records, and he's photographing some amazing people that he's meeting, breaking world records and stuff like that. But he still somewhat has a bit of a creative freedom to do what he wants within those shoots. And as a photographer, he still gets to go out and shoot. Like if you look at his personal work compared to his paid work, they're very, very different. But I know that obviously you just said that you've worked with Leica now, but I remember you saying in the Sean Tucker video that Leica pretty much gave you the equipment to go out and shoot how you want to shoot anyway, right?
That was my job.
So surely so I just wanted to know a little bit more about that.
Oh, so that was the question.
Yeah, sorry.
See?
Well, no, the question was, A, was it great to have that kind of experience and connect with them on that level to go out and shoot your own kind of things? Or B, did you kind of want to do something like, the question was, were you asked to do a certain type of photography?
Yeah,
or was it just a case of
so this is gonna, so I'm just gonna rewind, and this is gonna be also an answer I'm gonna bring to your previous question, which was, what advice would you give to someone who wants to kind of make it, shoot what you love? Shoot what you love, don't shoot what you think will bring you money, because by shooting what I love, which back then, so we were, I think it was before, COVID, pandemic, all of that. I started taking a lot of pictures already of my wife, of Carla, and I was just posting them. And when they saw those pictures, they contacted me saying, okay, we're launching on Instagram. We are launching, it was the monochrome Q2, a camera. And we would like you to shoot a project with it, just to promote it. So, what kind of project? Like, is there any kind of guideline? They said, no, that's the thing. We want your vision. I was like, okay, that's amazing. And from that, I shoot what I was doing already, which is my everyday life with Carla. And they loved it. So it was on the blog, like the international blog, on every social media and everything. And following that, because people kind of liked it, they asked me to do a workshop, which is going to happen next year. So shoot what you love, because if I was a bit shy or a bit too conscious about kind of what the society expects to me. I will never put picture of my wife on the internet, this kind of thing, but because that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Maybe somehow, that's something that touches more people. I don't know, but so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to shoot a photo of my missus in the shower, but she just kicked me. So it works for some people, not for everyone.
yeah. I don't know if give it another try.
No, but that's great, especially you get to like going back to what you're saying about reaching out and connecting with people. Like you've now built somewhat of a relationship with them, right? So you've gone from shooting the camera for them to now doing a workshop, which is great.
Exactly.
We found the same. Like we've obviously, we haven't launched yet. By the time you listen to this, we might have, but I doubt it. But anyway, we haven't launched our website as of this recording, right? So we've had to like pitch our idea. So we're reaching out to people and we're like, there's no way anyone's going to support us. There's no way anyone's going to care about what we're doing. And we are literally blown away by the support that we've received and the questions that we get. And now to the point where even today we've got the nicest message on Instagram, someone saying like they basically want to get into film photography because they've watched a couple of our videos, listened to a couple of podcasts.
That's so nice.
It was just a message saying, oh, I didn't know about these photographers that you've spoken to. It makes me want to go out and shoot. And that's kind of what we're doing. We want to help do that. And it's a sense of reward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best feeling. Like when someone tells you, oh, you inspire me to do something, because for me, being inspired is the best state. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, you're not tired, you're just inspired, you want to do stuff. That's the best feeling. So when you receive this kind of message, it's like, okay, cool. Best satisfaction. Yeah.
Is there anything that anything you do in a day or anything that you would say motivates you more than anything else? Have you got any kind of tricks and tips to stay motivated?
Well, apart from obviously watching, my photographer that I like, sometimes just flicking a book. I love to look at a photo bag. Looking at photo bags inspires me so much. I'm just picturing myself photo bag that I cannot even afford. Like the what is it? The Ona bag. Those bags. Ona or Una, I'm not even sure. I follow the Instagram page.
We've seen them, but they're so expensive.
Maybe it's the way I said it. But this kind of, and sometimes just watching them is like, oh, I can picture myself going somewhere. What I would put inside, I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but it inspires me so much. Then just randomly looking at books. I love photo books. And then ultimately sometimes just going with your camera. I don't have special stuff. Well, the photo bag is quite special. But yeah.
That's good. That's a good answer. Because I don't know. I feel like no matter where you are in your kind of photography career, right? Whether you be an amateur who just likes taking photos at the weekend, or you're someone who gets paid every day, when you go into a camera shop, you geek out, right? You look at things that you don't need. You're not really get, but you still go and have a look at it, and I like that. It's camera bags. So I like that. That's a good shout.
Yeah, it's kind of the same actually. Yeah, true.
Yeah. I actually picked one up in a charity shop. I was in Brighton a couple of months ago, and I went into a charity shop there, and they had a camera bag, and like you, then I was just like, that's perfect. I can put it over me. It can fit at least 2 cameras in. I'm going to use it every minute of every day. I used it for about a week, and then it just became another bag that I've got. But I don't too many accessories.
Yeah, that's the thing I was worried about. Like, I've got a little bag. I think I bought it for $5 from a charity shop, and I was looking at those like Peak Design new ones, and it's not like insanely expensive. But I was thinking, I'm buying a bag, put my camera in to go out with my camera, but why would my camera need to be in the bag? Like,
if you're gonna have it in your hand, you mean?
I just need to carry my camera around. If I don't have anything to put it in, I'll only be holding my camera, and that's gonna make more photos. So I kept trying to get my head around it, and then I went to buy it, and then I was like, I don't know, but I get that kind of feeling. Like, I like looking at it, and I was watching the videos of people using it on YouTube and like what you can fit in there.
Yeah.
And I thought, I need it, and it looks so good, but still haven't done it.
And like also the poor visualization. Hard word to say. Let me visualization. Yeah, said it right.
Yeah.
Like
I'd say it.
Yeah, there was that bag is from Portland that I've seen on someone's Instagram feed one day, and I was like, I'm very minimalist. Like I'm not buying a lot of stuff. Like even like I said, my gear is one body camera, two lens. So yeah, no, so when you visualize. So now I cannot say it right. Something. So when I saw that bag, I was like, oh, I can see myself leaving in the morning, maybe, making a coffee, putting my camera inside, going, and I had that thought for a while, and it motivated me to go take pictures. So when I finally received the bag, because they were not even delivering in France, a friend living in Chicago needed to bring it to me anyway. Makes me really want to take this picture and to reproduce the thought that I had for so many days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just as simple as this as well, just a little motivation.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to ask a question about kind of how you use social media. It kind of seems to be a subject that we talk to a lot of our guests about, and it's not something that we plan to ask, but it's nice to know the opinion. But because obviously, we've spoken to people that are just, they're hobbyists, right? They just enjoy photography, and they just use Instagram when they've taken a photo, they put something up. We've spoken to people that use Instagram very differently, or other social media outlets.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've spoken to people that run businesses, and they have to kind of keep up with the latest trends. But do you use it in any way? Do you feel the pressure of the kind of ever-changing social media platforms or algorithms, or do you just use it as a journal?
Yeah, no, exactly, as a journal. I think I'm very happy not to like my Instagram started developing maybe 1.5 years ago, I would say. Before I didn't even know how many followers I have. No, 2 years ago. Time goes so fast now with COVID and stuff. I'm losing track of time. But it started developing quite quickly, and I'm so happy that, because now it's getting a bit bad with the algorithm and all of that. So I'm so happy that mine start kind of getting good now, because everyone that was doing so good when the Instagram was kind of, chronological and everything, everyone is complaining so much about Instagram. And I'm loving it, because for me, it's, that's good now. And for me, it's a tool, and it allowed me to exchange with people. The way I publish is very organic. Like I'm loving a picture, I'm putting it. Of course, I'm going to pay attention to the insight. I'm not going to post something at 9 at night because it tells me that there is no one online, these kind of things. But if not, I don't really overthink it.
You don't feel it as a burden, so to speak.
Absolutely. And that's, for me, it needs to be something fun. It has to be cool for me. It's not, of course, I take it seriously in a way that it brings me clients, but I'm not trying to be too self-conscious about it, or, like, it has to be nice. It's just a social media, So,
That's good to hear. Like, I feel like we both use that in a somewhat similar way, I guess, Luke. It's different with front, because obviously we're trying to promote and build something, and some things work better than other things do. But it's, at the end of the day, we don't want to worry too much. I mean, we don't really care. I mean, people will find out about other people if they look hard enough, right? It's not about likes or followers or anything. It's about promoting what you're promoting, for whatever reason that might be, right? Whether it's just a pretty picture, or whether it's something more deeper than that. And that kind of leads me on to my next question. So do you ever kind of switch off from photography? Do you ever like learn to put the camera down, or is it just more, no, you've got the camera with you, if you see an opportunity you're going to take something?
It depends. This as well, I'm not really too self-conscious about it. I don't force myself to put it down or to take it as well. Like, for example, I went to Madrid this weekend, just with my best friends. It wasn't like a photography stuff, and I think I maybe took 1 or 2 pictures, and then I had just a disposable camera.
Oh, wow.
I still wanted to take some pictures, but I didn't want to, because the thing with photography, when I take pictures, I'm in the moment, because I'm observing everything, I'm very present, but not really for the others. I'm kind of in my bubble. So I was like, I'm gonna take it in case I feel like taking, and then I was like, you know what, no, and I didn't pressure myself. Usually I love to take like make a little series, but it's okay, I didn't do it. I just do like I feel as well. No pressure whatsoever.
That's good to hear though. Like, but to be fair, like that was one of the reasons that me and Luke talk about this all the time, because would it be fair to say, Luke, you're not the biggest fan on point and shoot cameras?
On point and shoot, Yeah, I thought I'd found a camera I really liked, but like I say, you can't turn the flash off. So I like
Just
no.
put maybe a piece of piece of
Yeah.
tape or something.
Yeah.
See, I love a point and shoot because I feel like there's no excuse not to have it, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, I guess. And I feel like with a point and shoot, like you said, if you're with a group of friends or if you're doing something that isn't there to go and take photos of, right? But if the opportunity presents itself, pulling out a quick camera
Exactly.
is there, and you might not use it. You might burn through a roll of film. You might just, well, you know, we both got the little Ricoh GR2. It's fantastic, right? But again, I would rather have it and not use it than not have it, I guess. But
exactly,
it is nice to put the camera down sometimes, I guess.
That's what I want fun.
Yeah, I think my everything I've used so far, it's been a combination of I don't really like using it and I don't like the results. So what's the point? Like if you're getting really beautiful results, or the results weren't so great, but it's so fun to use. But I'm like, I've got this one that I thought, this is the one for me. I researched it. I like the way it looks and it's quite small. And I went out and it was really misty and it wouldn't fire because it couldn't find anything to focus, because it's like only autofocus. Yeah. And I was like, take a photo. And it wouldn't do it. And I'd gone out on purpose to take like all these trees in the mist the other day. It's so
that's frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If we don't speak to you, I'm sure I'll drop you a few messages just because I'm annoying like that. But if I don't speak to you...
Anytime, no worries, anytime, seriously. I hope I didn't go to French sometime when I'm talking.
Oh la la, no way.
You got it.
Say hello to your wife for us. And I'm sure
will. Thank you so much, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.